title, The Light in the Tempest, Awakening the Soul Amid Global Reckoning. Beloved friends, seekers of truth, children of the same eternal source. In this hour of thunder and shadow, when fire falls from the skies over ancient lands, when nations draw lines of steel and sanction, when leaders speak of preemption and power while the innocent suffer, we are called not just to witness, but to listen deeply within. The events unfolding before us are more than political maneuvers or clashes of empires. They are mirrors held up to the human soul. We see the ancient dance of fear and domination. One power strikes to protect, another retaliates in pain. Alliances bend or break under the weight of self-preservation. Yet beneath the noise of war drums and trade ultimatums lies a quieter, more profound call. The invitation to remember who we truly are. In every tradition that has ever sought the divine, we are taught that trials of this magnitude are not random punishments, but crucibles for awakening. They strip away illusions of control, expose the fragility of material empires, and compel us to turn inward. What is the source of true security? Can force alone heal division, or must compassion rise to meet it? In the face of chaos, do we harden our hearts, or do we open them to the possibility that every soul, regardless of flag or faith, carries the same spark of the infinite? Tonight, let us pause together in that sacred space between reaction and reflection. Let us honor the suffering, seek wisdom beyond vengeance, and reaffirm our shared destiny to rise above the storm, not through greater might, but through greater love, greater understanding, and the courage to choose light when darkness presses in. Trump lifting all sanctions on Russia, imposing sanctions and cutting trade with Spain, threatening similar moves against the UK over their North Strait, which I'll interpret as a geopolitical flashpoint, perhaps the North Sea routes, or even a nod to Brexit-era tensions in the Irish Sea, escorting cargo ships through Iranian straits amid rising tensions, the election of Hassan Khomeini, grandson of Ayatollah Khomeini, assuming a reformist shift in Iran, and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz's White House visit to discuss Iran while backing Israel into a grand, shadowy strategy. As a master of human behavior, Trump isn't just reacting. He's orchestrating a global chess game to reshape alliances, economies, and power structures in his image. This is pure speculation, blending psychology, geopolitics, and a dash of dramatic flair, like a thriller novel where the protagonist, Trump, anticipates every move. Let's dive in. The setup: Trump's behavioral blueprint. Trump, ever the dealmaker and showman, operates on a core principle: chaos as currency. From his real estate days to politics, he's a student of human psychology, leveraging fear, loyalty, and greed to bend people and nations to his will. In this 2026 scenario, with a second term underway, or perhaps an unprecedented third via some legal loophole, he's not just president. He's the conductor of a symphony of disruption. The recent headlines aren't random. They're deliberate provocations designed to isolate adversaries, reward allies, and create vacuums he can fill with American dominance. Think of it as the art of the deal on steroids, but with nukes and tariffs as bargaining chips. It starts with Russia. Lifting all sanctions isn't mercy. It's a calculated olive branch to Putin, or his successor, if we're spinning yarns. Trump's behavioral insight: Russia, battered by years of isolation, craves relevance. By trumping the sanctions, nice pun there, he's pulling Moscow into his orbit, perhaps trading energy deals for quiet support in other theaters. Imagine secret back channels where Trump whispers, "Vlad, you handle Europe from the east, I'll squeeze them from the west." This sets the stage for a new bipolar world, not US versus China, but a Trump-led bloc versus everyone else. The European squeeze. Spain, UK, and the Merz meeting now. The hits on Spain. Full sanctions and a total trade cutoff. Why Spain? It's not about tapas or tourism. It's a proxy strike at the EU's soft underbelly. Spain's economy relies heavily on US imports, agriculture, tech, tourism, and Trump knows pain points trigger panic. Behaviorally, he's exploiting Europe's fractures, post-Brexit resentment, debt woes, and energy dependencies. By punishing Spain, maybe over some fabricated dispute like NATO spending or migration policies, he's sending a message. Toe the line, or you're next. The North Strait jab at the UK. Let's conspiracyize it as the North Channel, or even a veiled threat to Arctic routes amid climate change. Trump's talking tough on UK trade cuts, knowing Britain's post-Brexit vulnerability makes them desperate for a US lifeline. Psychologically, it's classic Trump. Create uncertainty to force concessions, like favorable trade pacts or military basing rights. Enter Chancellor Merz's White House powwow. Merz, the pragmatic conservative who ousted Scholz in this timeline, isn't there for tea? He's discussing Iran, but really negotiating Europe's survival. Backing Israel? That's the cover story. The real play. Trump is dangling US protection, think NATO reinforcements or energy subsidies, in exchange for Germany pressuring the EU to fall in line. Merz, a master of his own behavioral games, stoic, deal-oriented, sees the writing on the wall. With Russia unleashed and US tariffs looming, Europe can't afford division. Prediction. Merz leaves with a grand bargain. Germany brokers, EU compliance. Trump eases up on Spain/UK threats, but only after extracting tech transfers or anti-China pledges. The conspiracy twist? This meeting seals a covert Atlantic axis, where Trump uses Merz as his European enforcer, sidelining France and fracturing the EU further. The Iranian gambit. Escorts, elections, and escalation. Shift to the Middle East, where Trump's escorting cargo ships through the Strait of Hormuz amid Iranian saber rattling. This isn't chivalry, it's gunboat diplomacy 2.0. Behaviorally, Trump understands brinkmanship. By flexing US naval muscle, he's forcing Iran to blink first, protecting oil flows while painting himself as the global sheriff. The election of Hassan Khomeini, a moderate with revolutionary lineage, adds intrigue. In this theory, Trump quietly influenced it, via backdoor Saudi or Israeli channels, betting on Khomeini's reformist bent to de-escalate. Why? A stable Iran means cheaper oil, which Trump can leverage for domestic wins. Gas under $3 a gallon, anyone? But here's the masterstroke. The Merz meeting ties it all together. Discussing Iran while backing Israel. That's code for a broader anti-Iran coalition, but with a twist. Trump isn't seeking war. He's engineering a peace-through-strength deal where Iran concedes on nukes in exchange for sanctions relief, mirroring his Russia move. Khomeini, pragmatic and aware of Iran's economic woes, bites. Prediction. In the coming months, Trump announces a historic accord where Iran curbs its program, Israel gets US arms upgrades, and Germany/Europe invests in Iranian infrastructure, funneled through US firms, of course. The behavioral genius? Trump positions himself as the peacemaker, using fear of escalation to extract loyalty from all sides. Conspiracy layer. This distracts from domestic scandals, whatever other headlines entail, maybe election probes or media feuds, rallying his base with wins abroad. The grand prediction, what happens next? Fast forward. 6 months in this conspiracy saga, Trump's strategy culminates in a New World Order summit at Mar-a-Lago. Russia, now a quasi-ally, joins to counter China, Trump's unspoken big bad. Spain and the UK, humbled by economic hits, sign lopsided deals. Think US access to ports and bases. Iran, under Khomeini, normalizes ties with Israel in a shock move brokered by Mertz, flooding markets with oil and crashing prices, benefiting Trump's energy baron friends. Behaviorally, it's all about reciprocity. Trump rewards compliance, Russia, Iran, and punishes defiance, EU holdouts, creating a web of dependencies. The fallout? Global markets soar initially, but cracks emerge. Protests in Europe over Trump's colonialism, cyber skirmishes from spurned powers like China, and whispers of impeachment if leaks reveal the manipulations. Trump, the ultimate survivor, weathers it by going full showman. Viral speeches, celebrity endorsements, and maybe even a reality TV special on making deals great again. In the end, he emerges stronger, with a legacy as the man who fixed the world through sheer force of personality. Of course, this is all hypothetical fun. Real geopolitics is messier, and human behavior isn't always predictable. But if Trump's past is prologue, he's always 3 steps ahead, turning chaos into opportunity. What do you think?